What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Death of the Asia. Hold on one second. It's always something I got going on. One moment. I be forgetting to not autoplay the background screen. But anyway, thank y'all for joining me tonight for another episode of the Death of the Asia. Tonight we'll be talking about how Deion Sanders is done with you knackers. And we will also be talking about Brittney Griner, who has recently been released from prison in Russia with a swap with Viktor Bout. I think that's his name, which is a arms dealer for Russia. Tonight, Kensu from the Black Empowerment Movement will be joining me. What's up, Kensu? How you doing?
Hey, what's good, everyone? Thank you for having me on.
Yes, indeed. No problem. So first, we're going to start with Deion Sanders because we're going to talk about these subjects in chronological order, right? So
Okay.
Deion Sanders, he is currently the coach down at JSU, and he has done a really good job with bringing the attention to HBCUs. We've seen them, the games and everything being televised, and he really did do a great job with improving that program over there, the sports program over there at JSU. So he was offered a position in Colorado for substantially more money, a whole lot more money. It was, I think right now he's making about 300K a year at JSU, and Colorado offered him $5 million. So Deion Sanders decided he's going to go ahead and pack his bags and mosey on to Colorado. Well, with that, a lot of Black people are upset with Deion Sanders and feel as though he used the HBCU experience in order for him to use it as a leap pad for better opportunities. So a lot of people feel as though what Deion Sanders did was self-serving. How do you feel about that, Kensu?
Man, it's it's really not black and white, this situation. My only issue, if I was to have an issue with Deion Sanders, is not that he left for the money, is that he came in making these big promises to how he's coming in. Well, God brought him there to even the playing field for the HBCUs and to show everyone that HBCUs can recruit like the Power Fives, and his whole mission was to change the playing field, the even the playing field.
Did
But
he not do
it's more,
that?
huh?
You feel like he didn't do that?
No, he didn't. I don't remember Jackson State playing a Ole Miss, a University of Memphis, and beating them. So no, that's what he was selling when he first got there. He was eventually going to level the playing field that, hey, Black people, we can keep it all within ourselves and show, hey, you don't have to go to these PWI schools to showcase your talent. Uh Now, but as we go on right now, it's starting to come out that Jackson State was mishandling the money. It was showing that it's coming out now that in his contract, after $30,000 in ticket sales, him and his coaching staff supposed to get a percentage after $30,000. Well, Deion, of course, Jackson State been selling out, and Deion Sanders, his coaching staff, haven't get percentage of the revenues from the ticket sales. So Jackson State is starting to come out. The Jackson State have a blame to play in Deion leaving, because HBCUs have this, they have a history of mismanaging funds, of doing things like that.
I personally think that we have a problem in the Black community with the savior complex. And Deion Sanders, he's only one man. People who are saying that Deion Sanders is self-serving, isn't the first law of nature self-preservation? He took on the job just like anybody else would take on the job. When we go on to interviews at these jobs, and we want to make a name for ourselves, we say the most appealing things. What he did is no different than any of us going to work for an establishment. It's just that his job is, something that we're able to um dissect or whatever, but we all do the same thing in our careers. So I don't see what Deion Sanders or whatever what he did, and whatever people are saying that he promised. I don't see how that's any different from what we do at our regular jobs. It is not Deion Sanders' responsibility to stay in a position to sacrifice himself and just do away with his personal goals and the things that he wants to do for himself, and what his vision is for himself, to sacrifice that and to stay in a place that is offering him less money than another place is offering him way much more. None of us are going to be uh, receiving $300,000 a year and get offered a $5 million opportunity and not take it. People have went so far as to calling this man a sellout. So my thing is this: what the fuck are you at your job where you making $50,000? If he's a sellout for going to go make 5 million, and you punching the clock every day, and you got somebody telling you when you could go eat and you could go pee at your job for $50,000, and if he's a sellout, you a damn fool then. You know what I'm saying? Because what are you doing? So
Yeah.
I really don't see how people are not able to rationalize with that. Because and another thing too, and I'm gonna let you jump in. Another thing too is this. For me, I feel like Deion did what was supposed to be done. He got the eyes on the HBCUs. Or some people feel like it's just for Jackson State University or whatnot. And you had some people who were saying that the fact that Deion Sanders even went to JSU was a bad thing for the HBCU experience. You had people saying that. So it's like, it's damn if you do, it's damn if you don't. But the shit on that man for taking a better opportunity somewhere else, that is a savior complex issue that we have. Because if it was a white coach that did the same thing, that made the same quote unquote promise, and he got a better opportunity, we wouldn't be trying to cage him in like we're trying to cage in Deion Sanders. It's like we want our people to be great, but once they reach a certain level of greatness, then we want to cage them in. And if they move any other direction than how we want them to move, all of a sudden they're coons and they're sellouts. I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's some of the case. That could be some of the reason why people are getting mad, but I could be wrong. But I feel like a lot of the people that's on the side that say, hey, he's a sellout, I think their issue where he's coming in making these big grandiose promise to level the playing field. It's like, I think it gives people that trigger of that pimp preacher ideal, or how they talk, making promises, and how they come in and drain from the black community. I think what he didn't necessarily sell out. It was a trigger moment for a lot of people. But my issue always go back to him saying, making these promises. Maybe a lot of people that was calling him sellout and saying he's wrong for doing it. Maybe we projected so much on him that we expecting him to do these grandiose things and knock down the big bad PWI, and we gonna be black and proud and bring all our black talent back to the HBCUs, and we, what you per se said, that savior complex, we projected that savior image on him to save all HBCUs and bring all the superb black athletes back to HBCUs. I think a lot of that, what you said, had a lot of truth in it. So yes, I think the people that's calling him sellout are guilty of that, but he need to take some of the blame as well, because he sold a lot in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. You
And
know
he
what?
played off that. He played off that. He's a salesman at the end of the day. He played off that. He played off the the pro black, and around that time everybody was all about Black Lives Matter and all that. And he played off that and he used it to his benefit. And some people not happy feel like that was, being an opportunist, to take advantage of that and doing that whole short era, everything that was going on, especially around 2020.
Well, this is a good comment. 313's greatest said it's a college coach's job to lie. That's part of the recruiting process. And then too, back to what you said about people thinking that he just used this as an opportunity for himself and it was self-serving basically. For some reason, I hear what you're saying, but I just cannot see that because I'm thinking in terms of this. Like, what did they expect Deion Sanders to do? The man, he went and he got a job. He performed well at his job. Say if he wouldn't have performed well at his job, do you think we probably wouldn't be having this conversation if it was someone that didn't perform well at his job? He got the job. He performed well at this job. So it's almost one of those things where it would make me, if I'm someone who is looking to be a coach and I'm an ex NFL player and I'm looking to coach at a HBCU, and I look at the backlash that Deion Sanders is receiving simply because he himself got a better opportunity, I probably wouldn't want to go coach at the HBCU. So people got to keep in mind, like a lot of this noise, it can be a deterrent for people who could have walked in Deion Sanders' shoes. Because why even bother if I go over here and I do something, and then when I don't do everything you want me to do, I got to receive backlash for it. Because Deion Sanders, he's just one man. Why is he expected to just come in and Superman and save the world? Somebody else can do it. And what if it could be a white person that could come in and do it? Why does it have to be on the backs of like this Deion Sanders just being the one? Oh, he gotta be the one to.
He put the target on his own back. Now he put the target on his back.
I know that, but it's like one of those things where people are pretty much, they wanted all of this glamorous thing, and they looking at Deion Sanders like he the hope and he the dream of the slave or something. Like he's supposed to give us the promised land. And it's so funny to me, and this is another thing that tickles me about it, right? The same very black people that will be complaining about Deion Sanders will be the same people that will be having conversations about, well, black people, it's more to us than playing ball. That be the conversation of, we need more doctors, we need more lawyers, we need more of this. They demean going to play ball nowadays, and they say it's more to us than playing ball. Now here it is, Deion Sanders in this situation. So now they're so upset, and they have such a big problem with the sports program at the school. What about the other kids in other programs? What about the black kids that are at Colorado? What about them? You know what I'm saying? So it's black kids at all of these schools. So why did he have to be pigeonholed and have to stay there? He could go to other places, even though he's going to a PWI, but there's black kids there as well.
Well, it's a bit different. Of course, PWIs are controlled by people of the dominant society, Europeans and Caucasians. But it always, now it's other people from. Let's take Eddie George. Eddie George went to Tennessee State. Eddie George didn't never go to Tennessee State saying he's gonna be the savior of HBCUs. He just went there and did the job. It's other NFL coaches. You got Hugh Jackson at Grambling. He used to be the NFL head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He didn't go to Grambling and say he's going to be the savior of Grambling or all HBCUs. Deion, you got to remember, Deja, when he went, Deja, I'm sorry, Deja. I just want to say Deja. Deja. that was around. Remember the George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, all around that time when that happened, when Deion went to Jackson State. That was, if I'm correct, was 2020. All that was going on.
Well, I ain't mad at him for playing on it. If that's the case, I mean, what better person to play on it than Deion Sanders if that's the case? Because the thing, this is my thing here. I don't care about being used. You could
That's
use me.
That's you.
Listen, hear me out. You could use me because I'm useful. If you can't be used, then you're useless. The thing is it's okay to use people. It's a problem when you misuse them. Now, if Deion Sanders would have been in that position and he would have been a flop and he didn't do everything that he did, then I would have a problem with Deion Sanders. But if he did, even if we want to take on the approach that he used them, that's absolutely okay. They used his ass too. They needed him just as much as he needed them. And guess what? They
no. He couldn't get a token. He couldn't get a coaching job unless JSU offered him. Nobody wanted to offer.
That's what I just said, Kentu.
He needed them.
I said he needed them as much as they needed him.
Okay.
It was mutually beneficial. So if it's mutually beneficial, it's not artificial. We both benefited from it. So what's the problem? Why do people get mad when it's you benefited from it? I did not hurt you. I did not harm you. You used me. I used you. It's no harm, no foul. We both benefited. What's the issue?
Now, the issue business-wise is no issue business-wise. No issue.
It ain't no issue emotionally or morally either.
No. What the way you constructed it, no, it's no issue there. But on the bigger picture of it, like community-wise, city-wise, and the stuff he was selling, like, I mean, the stuff he was selling was then it was great. It was bigger than just football.
Can I jump in?
Okay, so go ahead. Black Socrates, thanks for joining. Go ahead and jump in with your 3 cents.
Definitely. So, 2 things can be true at once. The way DeAsia just broke it down, that's value for value. That's the way the world operates. You offer a value for value. But we're also talking about the transitional position of coaching at a college level. Coaching at all levels, at high school level and all, it's a very transitional industry, the industry itself. So the reality is he's not as successful if he doesn't go all in. His all in, if he doesn't get the Colorado job right now, if that offer doesn't come this year, everything he's been selling is true, and it would have continued on, then he gets the opportunity that he's been looking for. So him looking for it he still honestly said, while I'm here, I'm a change agent. I'm going to go hard. I'm going to get in these rooms that the HBCUs can't get in and give y'all a blueprint, and you can be completely committed to it while he can decide my job here is done, because you only can get super emotional if you think he has to stay, and you can only treat it as being done wrong if you don't understand what the agent just broke down. It was a value for value offer. He wanted to be a head coach. He never wanted to be an assistant coach. So therefore, it was a great opportunity when JSU called him and said, look at this opportunity. He didn't call them. They called him and said, we heard you've been wanting to coach. Come try it here. He had to talk, and he did it to the fullest. But he's always said, even in selling it, he looked at jobs the first year. It was reported. Why is he taking interviews the first year if it wasn't on the table? They even asked him in the 60-minute interview, if those opportunities come, what will you do? He told you on national TV, the first HBC, one of the first coaches to ever be interviewed in any coach in history, interviewed on 60 Minutes. He told everybody right down front and center, if these opportunities, I got to look. So he's telling you that while doing the job, because if the opportunity don't come this year, he's selling the truth. We take selling as a negative. It's what you have to do in a transitional position, because like Joy Taylor said on Speak, everybody mad at Lincoln Riley for leaving Oklahoma to go to USC. That's the nature of the game.
Yeah.
But they ain't coming in selling. They gonna say white society and fix all
So
the issues in their community and level the playing field. Deion sold a whole bunch of books. I ain't gonna cuss on your platform. He sold a whole bunch of stuff. He sold a whole lot of stuff. Now I'm not gonna say right or wrong. He did what he did.
That's our emotions holding on to, expecting of all positions, of all jobs you could ever have in 2022, a football coaching position, and we sitting here acting like it ain't normal. We want Deion because he has a bag, because he already made a lot of money. We want Deion to be different than any other person. Here it is.
He said he was different. God called him to do this.
Dude say God for everything he do.
Because he a snake oil salesman.
We finna. So here it is. This man said God told him to go to Colorado. When you go,
he been around TDJ too
goddamn. God be having more than one message. You know,
I'm about to start saying God told me to do shit.
So here it is. Only we're being emotional, holding on to he of all people, he had to be, because it is. If it wasn't that this is how silly we can be emotional. Because he has a bag and in our mind, he don't need the bag in our mind, then Deion should be in the unique position of having to stay. Because there's no way any of us is staying for $300,000 to $5 million. Like that ain't even like.
Yeah, so they're counting this man's pocket, and basically they're saying because he's already rich, he's already Deion Sanders, he don't need the money, so he should make the sacrifice. When his responsibility,
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
But basically, any conversation around it to get mad at Deion, if you just like isolate the noise and you just focus on the man is leaving because it's more money. That's why he's leaving. It's more money, right? The opportunity is more money.
A lot.
People having this conversation, and it's at the end of the day, it's 300,000 versus 5 million. The only reason why people are mad are saying that he should stay is because they already know he said he probably don't really need the $5 million. But also, it's not just about Deion. Why everybody want to focus on these kids signing up for college and going off to try to possibly play in the NFL and playing sports or whatever. It's not about Deion. It's about his children, the kids that he had. Right now, the $5 million, and people might feel like Deion Sanders don't need the $5 million or whatever, but this is a man that is continuing to build upon the legacy that he put in place for his family and his children, so his kids can eat. So I'm not finna have that man to sacrifice any money that he could make in order to have his kids set up for life because of the hope and the dream of the slave, and to be able to run around and throw a football. That's not it for me. I'm just not going to ask that man to do that.
Let me say this as well, because here it is. It really ain't about the money for Deion. I'm going to explain that real quick. But what it is,
it's not about the money. Deion Sanders was making $300,000. Like
about the money.
Deion Sanders was basically a volunteer worker at JSU.
Let me give you a chance to explain, because keep in mind, he gave most of the salary back to help, so he clearly don't need the money. So the $300,000 didn't matter. If the $300,000 mattered, he wouldn't have been giving none of his own salary back to the school. He gave money back to the school out of the $300,000. So I got more context for why it's not about the money, but I want to explain how it's a defeatist mindset to have this concept that in a marketplace, because football is a marketplace, that the best don't want to see, am I really the best against the best? So what happens is, true progress in any industry is, I see I'm the big whale in this pond, but I want to know if I'm good enough to play in the ocean. So Deion is doing it partly for the sons, because he's been saying it off top of, we've been saying it for years, ever since he was coaching Shador at the high school level. I want my son to win a Heisman. So going to D1 is a way better opportunity, because he already started speaking earlier this year. He was saying, why ain't Shador in the Heisman Trophy conversation this year? Look at his numbers. or whatever. So that becomes much easier completing the mission that the age is talking about. I'm talking about what he wants his son to accomplish. But at the end of the day, Deion had been expressed before JSU ever came to him. At one time, people might not know this, but Deion actually mentioned years ago that he was going to be an NFL head coach. He didn't even want to be an assistant then. Over the years, he realized I don't have a patience for pro players, so he always wanted to be a head coach. He wasn't willing, based on who he was, to take an assistant job. It don't fit his MO. So he got the opportunity. So here it is. At the end of the day, when you're the best, you want to see if you're the best of the best. I said it like this. I had Coach Larry Scott on my show, the head coach at Howard University, a couple years ago, turned down Alabama. When we get to the space that we understand this as a community, it should be okay for Larry Scott to turn down Nick Saban at Alabama, and it should be okay for Deion to move on based on his personal aspirations. Period, point blank. That's when we're playing like every other race and culture plays. You can do both and be okay with it.
I just think that it just boils down to we just need to get out of our feelings. Everything surrounding this is just based on an emotional attachment. We got the emotions based on what he promised, and then we also got the emotions based on he didn't fulfill the promise and everything. Well, Moses was promised something and he didn't get to go to the promised land because he fucked around and hit that rock. You know what I'm saying? So,
but he put him in a
like
position to get to the promised land.
Well, God had promised Moses that he was gonna see the promised land, and then he just gave him a little preview because after he hit that rock, he had fucked around and found out.
Oh man, I ain't playing. We ain't about to do scriptures tonight because
I gotta. So we brought up you said the man came like a preacher, like a pastor. I know a little scripture.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? Okay. I know a little scripture. I could put your Bible in your life. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no Christian or nothing like that, but I done read that bitch front and back, so I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, he hit that rock and he fucked around and found out.
See, this is where I come from at that, and I think some people come from. I know the money issue is a big one. The money, I don't fault him for that. My problem is he was in a position.
How you gonna have a fault now? Listen. Like if the money good enough, you let go of your reason you about to give.
Listen,
the money good enough.
Deion was actually. Listen.
But I don't understand.
Listen.
Hold on. Let him talk. Let him finish.
Deion was actually in a position to make everything a reality. All the things, whether it was a lie of all of that, whether it was a lie or not, he was actually in a position to make it a reality. He was in a position, he was getting the attention, he was getting the sponsorship, he was putting the spotlight on HBCUs, he was getting top recruits, he was getting that. It was a snowball going on. It was a snowball effect. He was starting to make all these things happen. All the things we preach about, keeping it black, supporting our own, not going to the white man because we think his water is colder. All of that, he was showing her that it was a reality and within grasp. And before he can even make it a reality, and because he had a chance to, he go and give up at the finish line. And I think that's why a lot of people are upset, because he was getting the ball rolling, making all these things very true. He was starting to get the top black athletes to come to Jackson State. He was starting to get other top black athletes to look at other HBCU, because we always talk about, hey, none of these programs would be where they at without the black talent. If they take their black talent to the black colleges, then the money will go where the talent will be eventually. So Deion may not be able to get $5 million next year or 2 years from now, but he was going to be in a position where he would be able to get that money because the attention was going to be on Jackson State. It was going to be on them HBCU. Once he get his program built up, it was going to be able to beat a Power 5. It was going to be able to beat a Kentucky, a Ole Miss, a University of Memphis, or a Southern Miss, all them schools locally close to Jackson State, because he was going to get that talent, build it up. Because my problem is, as Black people, sometimes we not patient, we don't have discipline, we give up too soon. You know why? That's why these white institutions and Asian people, they stick with their own. They may not be able to get everything they want all at the same time, but they build it up slowly to once they get it where they need it to be, then they can have everything that what we call white people have at some point. But he just didn't have the patience, or maybe he never had the vision and he was just selling snake oil. You know, who knows? But it was a reality.
Let me say this really quick, right? Deion Sanders is one man. Deion Sanders, he's polarizing, and you know, he did get eyes on JSU, right? So why don't Black people look at it this way? Deion Sanders, he done cracked the door open. He got the eyes there. They're seen now. He don't need to be there for that. The people who came, the Black people, the celebrities, and all of those people who start rallying behind being at the games and everything like that, and giving their support and funding or whatever they was doing, those people, even though Deion Sanders is leaving, those people need to stay. As long as those people stay and continue to show their support, if they were supporting JSU because it was a HBCU and Deion Sanders put the eyes on it, that's cool. But the thing is those people who came because of Deion shouldn't leave because Deion is going to a different position. Now, I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the people who were in support. You know,
100% agree.
People who are in support. As long as that's the case and they keep on, like now it's one of those things where like you could even think about, let's take it into terms of like the woke movement or the conscious movement and things like that. It was only like so many people that was on certain things, but the more and more people were able to like put it out there and people gravitate towards it, it became bigger than what it is now. So if they stay in support of what Deion Sanders has started, to let them know there is some value at these HBCUs. If they stay, then we're fine. But it ain't on Deion Sanders at this point. He did what he needed to do. I'm letting y'all see that it's potential here. This is something for you guys to invest in. These kids over here need us, but I can't do it all myself. And I also have goals and personal aspirations myself. You know what I'm saying? So as long as the support stays, that's fine. And they could support Deion Sanders at Colorado, and they can also continue to support.
No, we ain't supporting no Colorado bullshit.
I'm just saying the people who just was there to because it's Deion. That's what I'm talking about.
But I 100% agree with you, Deja, on everything you just said. It's up to the people now that was selling, going to the games and doing all this, the celebrities. It's time for them to step up and show were they really just fans of Deion, idol worshiping, or they was really down for the HBCU experience and those Black students that's there. You home run. I 100% agree with that.
Can I throw out this?
Yes, go ahead, and then we're gonna move to Brittney Griner after this because Deion, we don't vote him out.
I'll leave y'all alone. So
no, you're fine.
Okay, cool. No. So what I'll say is the reality is having done shows on trying to get money to HBCUs. Well, we don't understand, like, it's a fairy tale to say the talent.
You're breaking up.
Oh, for real? I don't know.
Okay, you fine now.
Okay, so it's a huge fairy tale to think that.
Nah, you still breaking up.
Okay,
you probably want to stay still.
Okay. So, you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. It's a fairy tale.
Damn.
Oh no, it's still breaking up. It's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale.
Well, it was a fairy tale. It definitely was a fairy tale.
Well, no, what I'm saying is we don't understand what Deion has really done. Is put light on the.
Damn, went out again.
The HBCUs are behind all the other FCS schools. There is no leaping. All the like Black people. Unfortunately, we get caught up in having hours, not understanding that all the other FCS schools are feeders for those coaches to go to the D1s too. Like that's what all the schools do. Like you mentioned the idea of the Asians ain't got their own Asian schools, college. The Jews ain't got their own Jewish college where they trying to say go compete with D1. Like we don't understand marketplaces. At the end of the day, the place where everybody
got banks. They got banks and shit. They good with math. They got banks. And we can, and I ask, we can run, so we need our own schools for football and shit.
Of the college thing. You saying they have banks. Well, where they college at? Because they want to compete with D1s and have Power 1, D1. Like we jump around as needed to make this black argument and don't put it in context. All the other FCS schools make way more money than the HBCUs. Their endowments are so bad. I'm telling you from experience. So what happens is what he did was beautiful to bring them up and put the light. But here it is. We're talking stuff and don't support our own HBCUs now. Like, we don't need Deion for that. We sit up here telling what Deion should do and what these celebrities should do. I'm not saying we're like the agents.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is we don't put in perspective how bad our HBCUs have been hurting. And now that Deion, because we have this savior mentality, goes over there and does that, now we want to hold him accountable like we done gave $25 to an HBCU. You can't.
And they mismanaging the money too. Them HBCUs, they got money. They doing fuck shit with the money. So that's a whole nother story within itself. And that part of the real reason why Deion left.
How we gonna hold him accountable? And we ain't giving $25 of our money to any HBCUs. People that ain't gave no penny, can't talk nothing, and tell that man what he's supposed to do from 300,000 to 500 million. And we keep saying our own, not understanding markets. That HBCUs need to be up to the FCS. The FCS schools, some of them decide to go to D1, but it's no concept. These other white FCS schools ain't saying, oh man, you coming to white schools. Like we don't really understand markets. Wherever everybody's at, that's gonna be the top market. The best always want to go against the best. That's it. That's how our soccer players are just now getting good enough to go to the European leagues. They just now getting good. For years, U.S. players was never good enough to go to the best league. Foreign basketball players come to the NBA. They're not saying, why are you going over to that American squad? Like, that's not what they're saying. They want to test themselves against the best. That should be normalized. And I wish us as African Americans.
But we are the best. We are the best. We don't have to go nowhere when we are the product. We are the best.
Everybody's playing.
You're talking about the best as far as the players, not as far as but I'm saying we're not as far as like the school itself, though. I think
but the players make up the team.
What you're missing is the best, the Power Fives, all this stuff we're watching right now. Where they
why they the Power Five? Not because of them cornbread white boys.
Because of they get everybody from everywhere. That's
no,
always,
they don't. They get niggas.
It's always gonna be better.
Huh?
That's always gonna be better.
Okay, so if all the niggas go to the black school, the money is gonna follow the niggas.
No market does that. No market goes where everybody
market goes where the product is.
The best market. Nobody.
The market goes where the best product is. If the product, which are niggas, go to the HBCUs, the money and the sponsorship gonna go where the niggas go. We just gotta get the niggas to realize they are the product. They are what's selling.
All these countries put their products in the United States because we have the best capitalistic market to compete. If it works in the United States, it can work everywhere else. But that's it. So you go to the top market. That's how business and markets work. That's why the foreign players come to the NBA.
Let me ask this. Let me ask this, Kentu, because you made an interesting point when you were saying that the product is the niggas, right? So if the black folk go to the HBCUs, then the money is gonna come. But it's a catch-22 in a sense, because if the HBCUs are not being seen like the Power Fives,
they're not being seen because
it's a sacrifice. Because that's like it's like some people be telling these ball players, if you have aspirations to go to the NFL, we got to think about this, right? We have to look at what these kids are going to college for and what their dreams are. If you have a kid that's a football player in high school and they want to go to the NFL, Why would you tell that kid to go to the school where it's less likely for them to be seen at just because it's a black school?
Listen,
that doesn't make sense to me.
Listen, Deasia, we in 2020. You can be seen regardless of where you go to school. Let's think about let's change it to like you good.
Well, then why do y'all care that Deion Sanders is leaving?
How you feel that?
Like going independent or going corporate.
Check it out. So tell me
hold on, one at a time. Let them finish.
Show me you players you knew before Deion showed up. If you could be seen anytime.
Man, this the age of the internet. Just like rappers, you ain't gotta go. You don't gotta go get no corporate deal from no major label to be seen. Just like Gorilla, her talent got put out on the internet. She ain't have to get. She signed with Yo Gotti, but that ain't what made her She got seen on the internet. She didn't have.
So you're telling me these football players need to start doing reels on TikTok in order?
They ain't got to. They talent. What they highlight reels and stuff. They got scouts.
Tell me
NFL got scouts that go to these little schools. How you think these before it was when niggas weren't able to go to these PWIs, they still got found. They were still able to get their talent when they was going on VHS and camcorders.
So then why is it that Deion Sanders is the hope and the dream of the slave then? If you're saying that, then also why do y'all care about this promise that you said Deion Sanders was bringing?
Because Deion was finally starting to make the young youth realize the truth of the matter that they can showcase their skills and talents at the HBCUs. Now, I'm not saying they still. He showed, like you said, Deasia, he showed the blueprint now. So hopefully that trend will continue to happen, and not just because of Deion Sanders.
A fact, and I'll let him move on to Brittney Griner. A fact. Last year, I put it up on my page. The season ended last year, and they didn't select the HBC. They didn't select the HBCU player in the NFL. Deion ended the year and put out a quote and said, I've seen players in our league that can play in the league. I'm mighty disappointed that the NFL didn't select any of these guys. So it proves that if they could be seen, this would happen under Deion's watch. No HBCU players got selected last year. And if anybody knows if they're good enough, it's Deion. That's why he called the NFL out. So if it's so easy to get seen right now, like you talking, then even with Deion there, that shouldn't have happened last year.
Them niggas, he getting them trash. They still had a lot of trash ass niggas on those teams. That's why.
It ain't gotta be but 5.
If you good, you gonna get seen. Just like if you remember Air Manera at Alcorn. If you good, you gonna get seen.
Well, why make it harder though? Why make it harder when you don't have to?
Well, if you have enough talent on those teams, that you gonna get seen.
Oh, now they all trash. The man telling you, I saw people good enough to play on Sunday.
And if you have a team of good ones, they gonna be, man. They ain't got no choice but to recognize. If you have a whole team of good people, you get some the best linemen. Alabama good because they get the best D linemen, the best O linemen. Most of them guys are black.
Did you not hear Deion say?
So
you got men talking about sports.
If Alabama get the best D-liners and whatever else you said, and most of those guys are black, that means that those guys, because Alabama, we get to see Alabama on TV. They have that visibility. So why wouldn't, with you saying that, with these guys being able to be highlighted, why wouldn't somebody else that has aspirations for the NFL go to Alabama versus going to JSU then?
I'm gonna be honest.
At the end of the day, this person probably came from a poverty-stricken background or whatever the case may be. You know, they a kid wanting to live a certain lifestyle. Why is it that we're putting that responsibility on these children to make a choice that goes somewhere where they got to work harder to even be seen? Yeah, they might have to be seen. They might be seen because they're great, but they got to go far and beyond and work extra hard to be seen in a place that already doesn't have the visibility versus if they go elsewhere. Sports programs are not the only programs in colleges. People got to make the decision that's best for their future careers. Now, if it's a thing where you got somebody that, hey, this person want to be a school teacher or something like that, let that person go to JSU or let that person go to the HBCU. But why make it these kids' responsibility to pick a HBCU when they gotta fight for hopefully get some airtime? That's I don't think that's fair to put that type of weight on
Initially, it would be like exactly what you're talking about. But if you looking at it from an individual basis, that's correct. But if we looking as doing it as a collective, as a black collective, we looking at the picture. The picture that Deion was selling, as the collective, the HBU, the black community, and all that type of stuff, then it will take some sacrifice initially to build everything up.
Do that. That's what she just asked you. Why would you ask the individual kid to do it?
Because they looking out for the collective. If each individual stop being individual and do stuff for the collective, it'll eventually be to the point where it will be better than no Power Fives.
My entire life, in hopes of that somehow that an FCS school, because the other FCS schools ain't having this issue, that an FCS school is somehow going to start competing with the $1 billion of the D1s. So I'm sacrificing.
It can be done.
It is. The reason you think it can be done is because we go backwards in time. Here's what we don't recognize about when we couldn't go to the PWIs. When we couldn't go to the PWIs, it wasn't the best market. They realized we're foolish not having the best athletes in an athletic sport. So now once you bring it together, it becomes the top market.
You just proved my point.
Ignorant. Yeah, we were better when we were separate. There is gonna be no sport that works better that doesn't take all the best athletes from any group. That won't. That's going backwards in markets. That's backwards in business.
It ain't number one group that's the best. What you mean, all the other groups? There ain't no other groups that's better in this sport.
When you're able to select from the pool of all players, you won't be compete with
They
them.
all black. They all black.
You got Aaron Rodgers fucked up, even though he been BSing right now. Don't be
5% black.
Everybody.
Aaron Rodgers ain't shit. Aaron Rodgers ain't shit. You see what type of shit he on now. His crybaby.
He ain't shit this. He been bullshitting this year. That's my quarterback though. Y'all got Aaron Rodgers fucked up.
So the NFL is the product it is because they can take from the entire pool, which 5% of the NBA. We're 80% of that, but we still take Luka Doncic from wherever we find him across the world. We still take. It ain't we. I'm saying the league itself. No market is gonna be better without being able to pull from everyone. So if anything's ever gonna go backwards, once the PWI got, I'm gonna even say PWI. Back then, it was all white. It was only white. When they dumbasses realized we want to make this the best sport we can make it, there is no going backwards once everybody's included. Nothing works that way in the world. Never.
Immigration fucked us up.
No, that's not true. Because let me tell you something. If you think that the NFL will cease to exist because black people are not in the NFL,
and we would have came together and put a product together that can rival them
to be a part of their sport.
You can't compete only on your own. That's dumb. It was dumb.
We would have put them out of business, and they would have came to our shit.
You said, man. Once you bring it.
You want integration. I'm gonna tell you how crazy this sounds, and we're gonna go to Brittney Griner. You are separatist. Well, if I said that right, you don't want integration. You want us to be separated. However, you also complaining about how the HBCUs are struggling.
I want us to be in control.
Separation really ain't helping a whole lot.
I want us to be in control of the shit.
We are in control of the HBCUs, and they getting left behind.
No, we need to be in the reverse. We need to be the one calling the shots like the Power Five. We need to be the top shot callers and have the white folks begging to come to us.
Well, we need to get a hold of our emotions, and we need to be able to allow people to flourish and be able to rub elbows and with different people in order to get jobs done instead of calling them a sellout and a coon when they do. Because if you think that you can exist in this big old world and this global society, if you think you can exist and you could just do it without rubbing elbows with others, it's not going to happen.
And
so until we get to the point where we're able to accept the fact that some of the stuff that we're wanting to do has to be done outside of us to bring back to the collective, then it's not going to work. Because every time somebody try to do something different, if we pivot just a little bit, all of a sudden they'll coon.
I ain't gonna go forward and say he a coon. I ain't say that now.
Well, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, well, other people were probably saying, yeah.
But anyway, let's get to this other sport in WNBA. Brittney Griner, right? So Brittney Griner, of course, she was locked up in Russia because of this vape pen. She knew she was wrong. I don't care what she say. I'm gonna just be very clear. You're walking through Russia, you got your vape pen or whatnot. Maybe you done passed through TSA before and got away with it. But you're walking through Russia with your vape pen, knowing these people are very strict, and there's no way for you to be able to tell me that you've been playing ball over there for that length of time and did not know these people laws. But however, she's going through the Russian airport. She gets hemmed up because of this vape pen, right? So the lady, she gets locked up. She got sentenced for like 9 or 10 years. Black Americans have been over here mad and upset because she got locked up. So first, I want to point this out. America does not have the right to tell other countries what their punishment for their laws should be. First of all, you know what I'm saying? Yes, over here, that sounds excessive for you to be getting that much time for a vape pen, but we're not, it didn't happen over here. While we're over here in America, we have people that's locked up right now for marijuana, where we have plenty of cities and states where marijuana is legalized and you could smoke it and have it and grow it recreationally or whatever. My thing with the Brittney Griner thing is, hey, you know what? I don't want to see nobody locked up for non-violent crimes. I'm glad the girl come home or whatever. But all at the same time, she broke those people's laws over there. And a lot of people were upset about the fact that the Viktor Bout guy, who is the arms dealer for Russia, who had been locked up he had a 25-year sentence, if I'm not mistaken. And he was about to get out pretty soon here in a couple of years or whatever. And they did a prison swap. They swapped Brittney Griner for Viktor Bout. And the same people who were protesting and making a lot of noise for Brittney Griner to get out, they are the same people complaining about the swap. That, oh my God, America let out a merchant of death for Brittney Griner. So now all of a sudden they feel like it's not that serious. Like she shouldn't have been let out and swapped for her. Like if they start talking about this Marine guy or something, which I think he got discharged, a dishonorable discharge or something, the Marine guy that they're talking about for stealing and shit. But you got people that is in one breath, they wanted her out. Now that she's out in the swap that they did to get her out, they got a problem with that too. So it's just a whole lot of talks around it. Do y'all think that? So my question is with the Brittney Griner thing is this: do y'all think that it was a fair trade for her to be traded for the arms dealer to come home?
So I'll just say this real quick. I'll just throw out there. I think in America, I think those are two different groups, in my opinion, Deasia. I'm talking about those who, like you said, thought it was too long of a sentence. I don't think that's the same people that's upset about who the swap is. I think those are two different groups, even in America, just throwing it out. But as far as the fair part goes, if we look at it just from American side, but to your point, you can't tell other people what to do. So we clearly understand that Russia, because they asked for that guy from the very beginning, right? Before they even sentenced her, they were saying, hey, we'll look at this only if y'all are considering letting that guy out. So Russia obviously just took advantage, from an international position to say, hey, we're politically going to ask for more since you want this lady out who broke our laws, and whether they were fair or not, we don't have a right to tell them, like you said. So fair to me doesn't play a part when you start getting into international politics. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily a fair trade or not, but looking at the politics of American landscape, it was a very calculated move and not a bad move, because let's be honest, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris need all the help they can get in the polls. And by getting Brittney Griner out, it was a good move. It's a good look for the LGBT community for him to do that. So don't know if it's fair or not, but it was a good move to help with the polls and going into the election period.
I'm gonna tell you this I'm gonna tell y'all this. This is very interesting to me, what a lot of people don't understand about the LGBT community, right? Sometimes it seems as though people think the LGBT community are just stupid and go for any form of representation, right? And it's not that. I want to say this real quick for the Black people that's listening, because I think that when Black people think about the LGBT community, they only think about Black gays. They only think about Black gays. The LGBT community is comprised of people of all races. So there are those white men that's in power, that some of them happen to be part of the LGBT community that get things done. They don't give it. They don't care about the fact of, they're not looking at, oh, this person Black, this person white, or anything like that. So when you're speaking of the LGBT community, keep in mind that people be thinking, oh, so much stuff is being pushed because this person is LGBT and this person is gay. It has nothing to do with that, because at the end of the day, first, she's a Black woman. You get what I'm saying? Those white men that's in power, that's part of the LGBT community, are not pushing to get her ass out of prison. That's not what's happening. So that part of it, the LGBT community needs to be aware of this, and the heterosexual community needs to be aware of this as well, because that's how you get your emotions played on when you're not able to realize what's going on here. She didn't get out because she's gay or lesbian, and I want the LGBT community, some of the people who probably look at it as it's a notch under Joe Biden's belt and it can garner their vote, don't fall for the trick, because it wasn't y'all that got her ass out. And the same way I had made a post, I said white privilege is what freed Brittney Griner, not Negro tears. It ain't have nothing to do with all of this stuff. Is political. And people think that America made a play and America won in this situation. In the grand scheme of things, and I don't want anybody to take this wrong way, but Brittney is not of any importance in the grand scheme of things. Viktor Bout is of importance. You get what I'm saying? So the thing is before she got released, I'm glad that the lady is out. But we're just going to think it from just a rational standpoint, just when you think about the value of a trade and what you're getting out of this trade. We only get, again, symbolism out of this trade. That's the only thing we get out of this trade. We don't get anything of value. Russia got an asset out of the trade. So if we're going to take our emotions out of it and think about it just doing negotiations or whatever the case may be, in essence, it wasn't a fair trade, because the value of the trade, like I'm like, do this nigga still know how to do the recipe for the bombs and shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? We don't know what this man got going on, and I'm not in fear of what he got going on. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, let's not start trying to act like we're afraid of guns or anything. But the thing is when people say, oh, it's a chess move and this was something smart for Joe Biden, in essence, this was like, dude, you stupid as fuck. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's how I looked at it. I'm like, okay, they asking for her. They want him out. They asking for Brittney. okay, you know what? Shit. So now they want him. We want Brittney, but they're willing. I know the value of this man that they're trying to trade for. So now I'm finna go find me somebody of importance that's of more importance that's gonna actually be an asset for us and throw them in a trade as well or something. You know what I'm saying? That trade should have at least been a 2-for-1.
It
Now
could be, though,
again,
It couldn't
I'm
be. It
not
could be.
mad at the lady for getting out. She shouldn't have been locked up for
Right,
that
right.
long. But you know what I'm saying? We just thinking like just
I'm
the
agreeing with a lot of what you're saying. If I could give you a little more context to back up what you're saying, like it's not a political play, like the brother just suggested. I'm gonna back it up what you're saying. The reason we can't get a 2-for-1, just throwing that out real quick, was we were the ones asking for her, so we didn't have that leverage. Just throwing that out, that's a little back end thing. But let me show how you're right. It has nothing to do with the LGBTQ either as well. So what happens is this is the part we don't remember. See, we're paying attention to Brittney because of when we got the story. She was locked up longer than we realize in America. And so if it was some type of LGBTQ thing or whatever, they would have been on it and putting that pressure on when she first got locked up. It became a story. And then at the end of the day, as far as election help, she got out today. The midterms are over. So trying to push, like if you even wanted to even insinuate that it was a good political play, because they've been trying to get her out since last year, was hoping she wouldn't even have gotten sentenced. They took an L when she actually got sentenced. They were trying to get her out before she got sentenced. So they actually failed when it comes to going into voting in the midterms. The voting happened after they failed her not to get sentenced. Her getting out today and midterms have already happened shows it has nothing to do with being.
I'm talking about presidential election.
Presidential elections in a couple of years.
No, next year.
You did say midterms out your mouth, though.
No, I said elections.
You said midterm too. Just throwing it out.
I ain't say midterms.
Well, my thing is, at the end of the day, it just proves that Sleeping Joe is slow because it's look, in negotiations when they went to start hollering for Viktor, I would have been adding try to, even if Russia would have if we came to them first or whatever with it and they asked for Viktor, then that's when you revisit that conversation. Y'all be like, look, this dude is sus. You list out things as the reason why. Okay, so let me kind of can we see about adding somebody else to this as well or whatever. I'm glad that the lady is out, but when you just think of terms of it, of the value and the trade, we definitely took a L. We took an L at the value.
It could be because of the people was pressuring, Joe Biden on it. That's the only reason I can say they really made a hard push for it, because of the public being pressuring Kamala and everything.
Well, Biden can go to hell until he free them niggas that's locked up here that over weed while people
that's
smoking
true.
weed recreational. I don't give a damn. And then I'm gonna tell you what's so crazy about niggas and this Democratic voting thing that's going on with folks. Joe Biden, he didn't. You got Kamala Harris and Joe Biden in office, and these the very same people that will prosecute your ass. You know what I'm saying? Look at you like you some type of monster. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's you pressing people who it's the same, like the way we was talking earlier about Deion Sanders, and it was like he didn't live out his promise. It's the same thing with these people here or whatever. We expect something from people who already have a certain value system to not do what we expect for them to do, but yet we put them in office and hope for something to change because it's like black people want these people to appreciate their vote. It's like, once you get my vote, you need to appreciate my vote and change your whole value system. It doesn't work like that. So fuck Joe Biden. What he needs to do at this particular point, since you run around here and you're trading out and you're swapping out people, but prison trades, that's always go on between countries or whatever the case may be, press his ass for the people that's locked up over here. If he felt that it was so important, where you finna trade this arms dealer for Brittney Griner, it ain't nowhere in the hell anybody should be in America locked up over no weed charge. So I don't want to hear all of it. All of it is just symbolism to me at this point.
It is.
Good the lady is out. I don't want to see nobody locked up over no vape pen, but it's bullshit and propaganda at this point, if you ask me. Russia got what they wanted. Biden them played in our face.
Facts. Nothing else to add. You said it all. It's true.
So, anyway, so let's read some of these comments so we could jump off here real quick. Valiant Thor said trading Griner for Viktor Bout, similar to trading a high school football player for Bo Jackson. What you said. Then I always said Biden's like that grandfather who peacefully passes away slobbering in his sleep, but the passengers in his car die yelling and screaming, literally and figuratively. That's a good one. And Eric Ishmael said it's Russian politics. Viktor is tagged as the merchant of death because of his capabilities in getting nuclear weapons and other weapons of destruction. Again, that's the reason why I'm like, do he still remember the recipe for this stuff? You get what I'm saying? Because like they actually got someone that is of value, you know? And I'm not going to sit here and make pretend that I know the ins and out in the background of this guy. But I also have read some things, and I'm not going to repeat it as if it's a fact because I don't know, right? Because we didn't know nothing about this man until now. Let's be very clear. You get what I'm saying?
Now they actually made a movie about him. They made a movie about him.
Well, the general public, you black Socrates, you a different kind. We talking about regular people. So we didn't know the common folk didn't know nothing about this man. You know what I'm saying? And the thing, some people were saying that the media was trying to push this guy, and it was propaganda around how they try to make this guy seem like such a bad person, and that he actually they were saying that he actually did not commit a crime. No, they were saying that he actually didn't. No, this is what I heard.
I'm laughing because I know you're telling the truth.
They said that he actually did not commit a crime. He didn't commit a crime. I was hearing he did not commit a crime on U.S. soil.
Wow.
So I'm like, really, they saying that he was illegally locked up anyway.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
No, I believe you. I believe you. I'm just laughing to hear that people had no, thought that kind of stuff. Now this whole movie's made about this.
I think you said something about it too, Black Socrates. But I've been reading, and actually Josh Ascari, he was gonna come up on here with me. I had read something from him, and I know he be on his shit. And I was like, I don't know for sure, so I ain't gonna quote this, but I'm like, that's very interesting. I don't know nothing about this dude, but apparently he was incarcerated illegally to begin with and never committed a crime on U.S. soil. And it was just a thing where
that could be true. Now that could be true.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised in international politics because that's the same thing with Griner. Like, even though they got rules, we don't know if it's really an 8-year sentence. Obviously, they was creating leverage, right? So we don't know exactly if their thing requires an 8-year sentence. It could be some BS. Yeah, that absolutely could be true. But I was laughing at the part where you were mentioning that people was talking about, he wasn't that bad of a guy. That part was funny.
Oh no, not like he wasn't that bad. He was not like he's not a bad guy, but like he's not the guy like people like he did something where it was like how it's trying to get painted or whatever. But somebody said they said, Kaylin James said, but seriously, this pandering to black people will blow on America in a bad way. I'm going to tell you something. I wholeheartedly agree, and I see that there's some new faces in here. Make sure y'all subscribe and like the video. I wholeheartedly agree, and this is the thing that black people ain't going to like when I say this. I don't like that when people pander to black people is because we're emotional as fuck, and we make decisions based on emotions. And it always, not only will it bite the country in the ass, it's going to bite us in the ass because our decisions be based on our feelings. So it's like until we get a hold of that within our community or whatever, and these people knowing that we make decisions based on emotions. So that's the reason why I pander to us. But eventually, constantly trying to pander to a group of people who are making decisions solely based on emotions, it will eventually bite you in the ass as well. So people got to be careful with that. I would be trying to pander to the people that make the most sense, But you know, some people just be wanting to be in office or whatever. But I mean, that is what it is. Um,
Can I add this real quick? Because
Go
I agree
ahead.
100%. Because we did a dialogue about this too on the Deion Sanders thing. It was just bringing back the emotion part of it. And at the end of the day, at the ultimate end of the day, the Deion. This is what I said on the show. The Deion Sanders situation, the way it played out, it just speaks to how high our collective hurt is. I always known it was there, but this moment was presented because we turned on a not everybody, but those that did turned on a cultural icon that's been beloved ever since he was at Florida State doing his thing. We've been riding with Deion, and it take him deciding to go after his own personal aspirations with his verbiage or whatever. We trying to hold on to the words. And now, like you said at the beginning of this show, I saw you say this. Now, who the hell want to go to JSU? So that's how bad the collective hurt and emotions can do. You gonna mess up the opportunity because somebody could have walked right into JSU and tried to keep that party going. But why would you go there now?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But this has been I appreciate you guys for joining me tonight for this show because we were able to uncover a whole lot of different things, and I hope that some people were able to get something from it and to use it to just think more about both of the situations pertaining to Deion Sanders as well as Brittney Griner, and just keep the conversation going. Tell us y'all thoughts and opinions on both segments of the conversation. Before we get out of here, I want to highlight the fact that both these gentlemen that are on the panel with me tonight have their own respective shows. So, Kentu, let the people know where to find you on the Black Empowerment movement and tell them about your podcast.
Yeah. So basically, I cover all Black issues regarding in locally in Fort Worth, Dallas, Fort Worth area. Anything got to do with our people, I try to talk about it and cover it. So go to the YouTube channel, Black Empowerment Movement, subscribe, like, and share.
And Black Socrates, let the people know where to find you and the name of your podcast as well.
Thank you so much. Mental Dialogue. You can go to mentaldialogue.com. We have a live show every Saturday morning. Everybody can jump on. It is audio only. We do some pop-up video shows here and there on the YouTube page, which is Mental Dialogue. So go subscribe there. But every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Deasia, she's the queen of intellect. She's been rocking with me for years. And so this Saturday, just to throw it out real quick, we're discussing, can I break into tech without any tech experience? And I got on some tech engineers, cloud engineers, who show you exactly how to get in the game and get six figures within 6 months or less. So going to be a great dialogue on Saturday. Thank you for that opportunity, Deasia.
Yeah, Deasia, big up. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank y'all for joining me. Eric Ishmael said, I enjoyed the show. My brother Tony Macaroni sent me. Thank you for coming by and watching. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope y'all was able to pick up what we were putting down. Make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe. Also, you can catch me every Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time for now on the Hip Hop School Past and Present podcast. If y'all like hip hop and all things hip hop, that is the place to be because it goes down over there. My brothers, they will be on the show tomorrow. I won't be there tomorrow, but they will be doing their thing tomorrow or whatever. So definitely tune in and support that. What else I wanted to say? I had drew a blank. I wanted to make mention of this too. Kentu, you said, don't you have a show tomorrow?
Yeah.
Similar to this subject.
Yeah. I'm talking about can you get a quality education at a HBCU? Okay. So I'm gonna be talking about that. You got a date tomorrow with the guy with the Nissan Altima?
I had to block him.
Man,
no,
you ain't
he can't. I
you
had to
ain't
block
shit.
him. He can have a Nissan Maximum, but a Nissan Altima. That's why
you supposed to do that offline, bro. What you doing?
Nah, he messing.
I'm messy.
he being real messy.
Yeah, you supposed to wait till
he done told me my business. Y'all stay on though. Y'all stay on. But anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're about to tune out. Y'all have a good one.
I hope you black men were paying attention. I hope you black men were paying attention.